Welcome to the show today. We have a special guest. Her name is Batya. We're going to be talking about how to stop overpaying for unqualified leads. Okay. She's an entrepreneur, social media expert. Her company trains and maintains and consults clients ranging from manufacturing, charitable organizations on how to get the best results from social media efforts. And we're going to be talking to her today. She's going to give us some insights on that and so much more. Ms. Bhatia, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you. So you have been in social media for quite some time. Just really quick, how has social media changed in the last 5 years or so?
Oh my gosh. The way it changed in the last 5 years was a huge change, but the way it's just changed in the last year and a half is like 5x, because 1 year there is a certain changes and then we stayed the same for 1 year or 2 year. And then all of a sudden they start speeding the changes to every couple months, like constantly making changes. So it's very difficult to keep up with social media. It's very difficult to make the changes to people who don't really follow and track the changes. For example, when it comes to Facebook every single day making changes, right? So we're talking about 5 years, you're talking about a very, very old machine, right? Now we need to talk about few months because few years in social media is really, really old. It's just like a computer. In the past, you can buy a computer and keep it for 2 years, for 10 years. Now, in 2 years, it's becoming very old, like iPhones and iPads and all of that. So the changes, when people hiring people to manage their social media, the very one things they have to be staying responsible for is make sure that the people that you hire stay up to date and they register to kind of a seminars, event, coaching, because even when you're a coach, you have to have a coach, and if you don't have a coach, you can't coach anybody. And that's something that I always say. So the changes are like on a daily basis, like YouTube making changes right now, Facebook making changes, Google make changes, LinkedIn make changes. How do you keep up with all these? You have to hire an expert that knows what they're doing.
Absolutely. The social media is its own business and it is very complex. So when business owners looking and trying to search out for the right consultant and trying to find the right tools and materials to find the perfect person, they find someone like you and they ask you this question: how do I get the right traffic? How do I find the right dream customer? Tell us how we do that.
So I tell you very, very important things I have learned to people who call me to buy social media services. I actually never sell them social media services. I sell them mindset and I sell them educations, because when you buy something, you have an expectation of receiving something, right? Like you go to a shoe store, you buy shoes, you wanted to have shoes. In social media, you buy social media and you're not really getting what you want. Why? Because even if you do, you will not know it. That's why it's important for people to educate it and what they buy. And I give you an example. I work with many dentists that buy a review system for the business. They pay for 1 year for service, and in the end of the year, they have no reviews, and they're complaining about the company they buy their review system from. And I said, hello, hey, listen, you buy a review system, you don't buy reviews. To get review, you still have to ask the people that are your patient to give you the review, because the review company, they cannot generate a review for you. They're matchmaker between you and the patient and give you an easy way how to do so. But you still have to be responsible to tell your patient, excuse me, after they leave, hey, please give us a review. We're going to send you an email or a text message. Please respond to us. Also, you don't ask a review for people who didn't leave with a big smile. So the level of responsibility to me equal engagement. The problem with people wants to buy engagement, but they don't engage. So buying social media is such a generic, big, ginormous thing that people said, oh, I buy social media. Okay, what does that mean? You don't buy shoes, you buy a service that contains a lot of single items that if you don't find a company that know how to put all the dots together, you set yourself to failure, and the marketing company set themselves to failure. Why? Because instead of a 1-year contract, we're going to have 3 months contract. Or we can do it correctly and keep a 5, 6, 7, and 8 years client, just like I have. Why? Because I said, to be able to buy your social media services from the right person, you have to get into a very, very deep conversation. Find, number 1, the needs. Number 2, the wants. Number 3, make sure there is a lot of understanding. So for example, when I walk my people through social media, yesterday, today, this morning, the day before, people said, wow, I've never heard that before from any marketer I speak to. Why? Because when somebody take your account and manage your social media and your social media is broken or incomplete, they basically manage something that is broken or incomplete. So they will never get your result. Even if they really want to, it's impossible to get it because it's incomplete. So what I do is I always said, you know, I have a setup fee, and in that setup fee, I take your complete social media and I make a complete makeover, repair, and add the missing items. For example, everybody right now is putting all the efforts on Instagram and Facebook. And I tell you, a lot of people losing time because Instagram and Facebook work with 2 or 3 different reasons. On Instagram, you have to be an influencer. If you're not an influencer, Instagram will not work for you. You will put so much time and effort there and you get no result. Facebook, same thing. If you're not buying advertising, you're not going to get anywhere. So you put the effort and something, and if you don't have a budget for advertising, you put in effort and something don't work. There is 2 shortcuts that people can do to get a faster and real result. For example, did you know that having a Pinterest account will give you more result than Facebook and Instagram together without paying for ads, without follow nobody, and nobody follow you? Just by having that Pinterest account and having it tweak to your Instagram on Facebook. So everything you do on Instagram and Facebook will go to Pinterest. Why? Because Pinterest has a very, very secret relationship with Google. If you go to Google and search for any picture, lion, flowers, medical stuff, whatever it is, you will see that every picture that show up on the Google search has an icon for Pinterest. That means if you post anything on Pinterest, your art, your product will show up. When you post it on Instagram and Facebook, it doesn't show up. So people like to lose money because they believe because they pay a lot of money, the product is more workable for them. And oh, they get 50 likes. Somebody tell me, I have 3,000 likes on every post. And I said, and how that's pay your bills? I have 60 likes on my post, okay? And I make more money than you. How do you explain that? You know, I make people question themselves all the time because it's important that people know what they're doing and what behind what. Everything on social media has a purpose. YouTube has a different purpose. Facebook has a different purpose. And you have to understand the purpose behind each channel to be able to get the most out of it. And what I do when I speak with my customers, I find out who they are, what they want, what their purpose, and I help them through social media to accomplish through each side. And I said, okay, we build your social media, but I found something that is quicker, less expensive. And while we're building your social media, because that takes a lot more time and trust to build, we're going to LinkedIn. And from LinkedIn, I show them how to get customers directly. And then we'll talk about it next.
Awesome. Awesome. So when it comes to the customer base of a business, how do a business rather continue to get consistent, new traffic that going to bring in possibly new business?
You know, you can pay for advertising and get a lot of traffic and business, and it's very expensive. Or you can still pay for advertising, doing the right things, so you can get the same traffic as you would pay a lot of money. And how you do it, there is a shortcut. So for my customers, I find a very, very specific way. So I have my social media company and I have my LinkedIn lead generation company. And with the LinkedIn lead generation, we find a way to reach out to people quickly without too much effort. Okay, while we're building the social media and creating the trust there, because social media is a very political things and it takes a lot of time. So basically, what we do is we reach out to customers on your need. For example, I have 22,000 connections on my LinkedIn and 19,000 of them are dentists. So I get what I want from my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn pay my bills and make me comfortable for the long run. Okay, I have months that I make so much money on LinkedIn that I don't even believe myself. I get myself 30 to 60 appointments a month. Sometimes I have to turn off a day to take a break from speaking because every person that connects with me through LinkedIn automatically jump on a Zoom call with me. And I basically do a demo and show them how they can reach out to people directly. Why? Because as a business owner, when you reach out to people through social media, you most likely face the manager, assistant, personal assistant, whatever, and they're basically a stopper. So I am Israeli, as we talked before, and I tell you, I like decision makers. I don't like to waste my time. I don't like to lose money on advertising. They don't have to. When you pay for advertising, you most likely going to disappoint yourself if you're not going to get the result. Because you pay for shoes or you pay for a purse and you leave the store with the shoes and a purse. With social media, you pay for something and you leave with nothing. It's disappointing. So I educated people how to build yourself to get there slowly. For example, on Google, you can pay thousands of dollars on advertising. But if you just focus on getting 300 reviews or 500 reviews, you would save thousands of dollars a year on Google advertising. Because if you spend $500 on your Google account, when you have 300 reviews, you basically save another $2,500 a month because of those reviews. Because Google is your mother. Google is everything for you. People make a decision based on two things in their life when it comes to social media. Instagram, people believe it. I personally not, because in Instagram you can go and post the pictures of yourself with the airplane and Lamborghini and end up that it's not even yours and you live in somebody's house. On LinkedIn, on Google, we see who you really are. And that's where I tell my client, let's do the social media, but let's focus on what's working without too much effort so you can get more traffic, more people, gain more trust, okay, and everything else. So this is how we get there. I mean, there is a sales process and there is an operation process, how we get people to, first of all, be stable online before they put any money on marketing. When I start working with the client and I said, in the next 3 months, please do not spend a penny on marketing and advertising. Let's create that stability that when next time you spend money on advertising, you get what you want out of it. So I don't hear you. Oh, now I can.
Oh, sorry. Right. Absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Social media is like the good and the bad of networking and marketing, I tell you. So for those business owners that's out there that said I've tried it, but that didn't work for me. What do they need to do if they tried these methods on their own, if you will, and they tried the social media platforms and they didn't just work for them? What do you tell them?
So I tell you what I tell people: if you know how to do it, you will never do what you're doing. You will do just that. Why? Because people who know how to do social media and know how much money they make out of the social media, they will never do something else that make less money from that. Because people who know what they're doing on social media, they're making money like crazy. So if it was easy, everyone will do it. Remember that. So it's not very easy. You require a lot of education. So if you're a dentist or you want an accountant business or any type of business, and you didn't go and take a time to study the social media, check the activity, the changes and everything on a daily basis, it would not work for you. It would not work for you. Most people that make changes on their own, build their own social media, they do it in such a way that they're blocking their social media because they don't have the knowledge how to do it correctly. So for me, when somebody said, I already did a YouTube account, I have a client who said, I already did YouTube, I don't need your help with YouTube. Well, he posts so many videos, nobody see those videos. So I log into his YouTube account and he's like, I post so many great videos and I have no views. And I said, you know why I have no views? Because your YouTube set up to be showing up on India when we live here in America. So I basically went to the back office of YouTube, changed the country, and there is 2 places where you change it. And all of a sudden, a month after, he has a couple hundred views on the video. So doing something, you have to know what you're doing. You have to really understand, and not just setting up the social media, because to open Facebook or open Instagram, it takes nothing. What you're doing is how you put all the dots together, how create yourself a system that when you post on Instagram, you go everywhere else, so you can focus on the leads versus focus on what to post today, how to post today, who I'm going to be copying today. People do a lot of things that they don't work, and it's very important that they fall into hands of somebody that understand what they're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now we talk about all of the myths and bad things that can happen in social media, the things that you don't know. What would happen to your business if you did everything right?
You know what's going to happen to your business if you did everything right? You would see result. You would see traffic. You would get attention. You will find yourself saving money on the things that you spent before that you don't have to do right now anymore. And I think you're going to be happier because you're going to have that certainty that things are going in the right direction. So from now on, after everything is correct, you can still spend some money on advertising. It's very important to kind of expend everything, but at least this time you know what you're doing, you know what you're investing, you know what to expect, what kind of a return to expect. And I think the way you feel and the way you see result coming to you will make a huge difference, because people said, oh, I get 30 clients a month from Google. And how much it cost you? $5,000. That's a lot. That's a lot. So when people tell me, oh, I get a lot of traffic, and how much the traffic costs you, you don't have to spend so much money paying for everything. There is a lot of things online that are free, okay? That like, for example, people pay $8,000 on a website. And I said, are you crazy? What are websites? It's just like a piece of paper, What really work is landing pages. What really work is social media. What really work is communications, right? I'd rather you spend money on Google Ads than you spend $8,000 on a website. It's very important that you spend the money correctly. So I think people can be really, really happy understanding the platform, knowing how to work the platform, and what they can get out of it.
That's good. So now that we have summed up a lot of great things when it comes to advertising and being on social media, and all the great things that that happens on social media, all the bad things that happen on social media. Um, how is it? Well, not how is it important, but from your point of view, when you're doing influencing and you're helping other people on these social media platforms, because I understand that you do a lot of stuff in nonprofit work. Do you use your platforms for that purpose only, or for a array of different things?
You said nonprofit.
Yes.
Nonprofit is somebody that I personally support. I don't work with nonprofit anymore. Now I'm mainly working with dentists. My focus on the dental industry. For example, on my LinkedIn right now, I already told you how many dentists I have on my LinkedIn, but right now, if somebody that is a non-dentist requested me, I'm really looking into it very well, because if to accept or not to accept. Why? Because LinkedIn is a money maker, is a machine of, I call LinkedIn an ATM. If you know how to use your LinkedIn properly, it's just like you go and you take the money when you need it, right? So for me, if I put somebody who is not under it's not in the list of my ideal SIM customers, I would not accept them, right? So it's very important that you have a niche. When you have a niche, you have an income. When you have a niche, can you imagine you have to spend money on advertising, and then you spend money on the keyword dentist, podiatrist, eye doctor, plastic surgeon, accounting, this and that and that. You have to spend so much money on advertising on every single subject. But if you have a one subject, one effort, the result will be much cheaper for you. So focusing on a niche, not just is cheaper for you, but also make that a perception of you being an expert on that field. And of course, 25% of my customers are not dentists. Okay, and every person who's not a dentist and come to me and ask for help, of course I'm going to help, because my product is good for every single industry. But I focus on the medical industry because I created perceptions that I belong to them, and I have the tools to help the dentist. So because of that perception, dentists reach out to me and said, I see you helping many dentists, I also need help. There is a trust in that field. You understand?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you emphasize being on LinkedIn quite often throughout the show. Is there other platforms that we can reach you? So if someone's out there listening, they can reach out to you.
Ask me that again.
Is there any other platforms that you're currently on that someone else can reach out to you other than LinkedIn? And if it's LinkedIn to be exactly how you want someone to reach you, where is that link
People can
page?
reach me on LinkedIn, period, if they're dentist or not. And I tell you, I spend more than 8 hours a day on LinkedIn. Okay. It makes my life very comfortable and
Yeah.
beautiful. And even when I leave my office, LinkedIn is still beeping on my phone all day long, because for me, I use social media to create a certain reputation, but LinkedIn is my effort. So people can go to my website, people can go to my LinkedIn, they find me on social media. I'm everywhere. They just Google me, and there is a 1-800 numbers that they can call me or they can text me, send me an email. I mean, I am open-minded to help any person that need my help. I have the tool, and I always tell people, if you don't want me to manage you for the long run, no problem. Let me build you. So any person who manage you after, whatever they do will stick. Why? Because it's important. I'm more caring about building people than managing people. I don't believe the management work if you didn't build yourself correctly. The base is the most important thing.
Right, that's so true, so awesome. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it very much.
You're very welcome.
All right, next IBS.